TheWaterwhispers. Hi. I hope everybody is doing well today. I am doing a voiceover for this video. I'm just gonna put up my hair before I'm gonna start cooking. And yeah. Today is a pretty chilly day today, no pun intended. And yeah, I thought it would be a good day to make something nice and warm. Look at this apron. It has my name on it, Ilse. That's actually how you spell my name, since I see a lot of people always spell my name wrong. I got this one from a friend of mine for Christmas last year, and she got it custom made on Etsy, and I really, really love it. So yeah, this is what it looks like. Ta-da! Okay, let's go. So, before I'm going to get started, I gotta go and cut these onions. I have a few things that I need to cut first. I usually don't buy onions pre-cut, but I was at the Asian supermarket and they sold 5 onions for $1, so I couldn't resist the price, so I bought them. So I'm going to be using 2 onions today. Just gonna cut up the first one. I am not a professional cook, as you know. In some of my previous cooking videos, I always got people criticizing the way how I cut things, and that's the reason why I generally never post cooking videos, because I absolutely find it so incredibly unnecessary when people do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody knows that I'm not a professional cook, and I've been making food for myself since I was 16. I'm 36 now. So yeah, 20 years of experience. I'm pretty sure I know what I'm doing, just casually cooking. Okay, so I got this one. Let me just put that on the side. I think 1 onion might actually be enough. I also bought a green pepper, because green pepper tastes good in chili, in my opinion. And the recipe, by the way, if you also want to make this, is in the description box down below. Yeah, so this is just how I make chili. The country that chili is originally from, when you're watching this, you're probably going to be like, what the heck are you doing? But this is just how I like to make it. So, yeah. So the recipe originally says to use 1 pound of lean ground beef, but I am going to use 2 pounds of medium ground beef. I'm okay with the fat that's in it. If you want to make it more lean, you can use lean ground beef. So yeah, we've actually here in Toronto have had the first snowfall. It's nice and warm and toasty inside though, but yeah, I thought that I haven't made chili since, I think I made it once last year. And I generally don't make chili because I always use kidney beans, which isn't keto, and Chris eats keto. But this time I was just like, well, I'm gonna make chili with kidney beans. So, you know, it is what it is. But I actually discovered, you know, after eating it, after I made it in this video, that I might actually like chili better without kidney beans. I read up a little bit about how chili was originally made, and the original recipe doesn't even have beans in it, I believe. So yeah, I might try that next time, to just not put it in. Okay, I'm almost done cutting these green onions now. I love my apron so much. Still, so I'm wearing it not every time when I'm cooking, but I'm wearing it often when I'm cooking. You know, especially when I'm dealing with like a red sauce that can splatter, but I'm accidentally splatter when I'm mixing it around. Okay, so that should be good. So in terms of vegetables, this is it. And then of course we have the kidney beans that are gonna go in this. Let me just have a look at the recipe real quick. Okay, so I'm going to be using some olive oil, just about a little more than a tablespoon. This is also, I just realized, the first video that I have, the first cooking video that I've ever made with the new stove. Our stove broke down last year and our landlord bought a new one, so now we have this one. So I'm just getting a pot here because I need some chicken or beef stock. So I'm just going to use cubes of bouillon and then just put that aside with some water and slowly let it cook. Because the bouillon cubes do not really dissolve in cold water, so this is just how I'm going to do it. So I'm just going to use 1 cube, and I'm using 500 milliliters of water, which comes down to 1.5 cups. But like I said, you can find the recipe in the description box down below. Just letting the oil heat in the meantime. And I just got some water, so let me just pour the water in the pot and put that on a different burner so that can start boiling, and that it will be done by the time I have to add it to the chili. Okay, oil is pretty much hot enough. I actually mess up one of the steps. I was supposed to, after the vegetables, I believe I was supposed to add the beef, and instead of adding the beef, I added all of the spices first. So yeah, you'll see it probably in the video. The moment when I did, I'm like, you can see that I realized that I messed up. Okay, let's start with the onions. Just breaking them up a little bit. What I really like about chili is that you don't really have to be precise with the recipe. You can make it as spicy or as mild as you want, as tomatoey as you want it to be. You know, I use a little bit of sugar, a little bit, but if you don't want to use sugar at all, you can leave that out as well. I like that the recipe is very versatile. So I'm just going to pan fry these onions until they're like glazed, pretty much. And once they are glazed, I will add the green onions. I'm just looking for the can opener right now, I think. Yeah, because I need to open the tomato puree. I'm gonna add a little bit of 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. There we go. So I'm going to use a tablespoon and a teaspoon. Just let me throw out that stuff on the vegetables. Let me just have a look at the recipe and see what I need to do next. Also, if you have a different way of making chili, please let me know down below what you do differently. I always like to hear how other people make their recipes, because sometimes I get suggestions in terms of ingredients that I never would have thought of myself. So, okay, now that the green pepper is in it as well, just gonna mix all of this around until it gets a little bit softer. And this is where I'm supposed to, once the green pepper is a little bit softer, this is where I'm supposed to add the beef, but I didn't. So, yeah, I was reading the recipe and I got distracted by something, so this is where I'm starting to add the herbs and spices now. But if you make this yourself, add the beef first. So here I am using a tablespoon of ground cumin and 1 more because the recipe requires 2. This is organic cumin. They didn't have regular ones, so there's no reason why I got that. So this is the sugar, the white granulated sugar, and it says to use 2 tablespoons. I thought that was quite a lot, so I only ended up adding like 1.5, like one third tablespoon. Then here is the chili, the herbs. I didn't make my own mixture. I just bought it, store-bought it like this. And that's the moment where I realized I messed up. And I cut the camera because I swear. I'm like, oh shit. So I cut the video. So, yeah, the beef is already out of the package, laying over there, and I'm like, oh no. I was supposed to add the beef, so I'm like, okay, quick, add the beef. So the reason why I'm doing it like this, normally I just throw it in, but it was still semi-frozen. Even though it was defrosting in the fridge overnight, the middle was still frozen. And if you throw it in as a block, it's kind of hard to, you know, pull it apart with the wooden spatula. So I just like to use my hands to cut it up in smaller pieces. So yeah, then I just decided to mix it because the vegetables, there's not a lot of water content in the pot, so I could really smell like, okay, it really needs some oil or water or something, otherwise everything is going to burn. And then I add the second package, has 2 pounds in total. The reason why it's in 2 bags is because I like to freeze it like per pound, because I usually only use 1 pound for pasta, for example. So yeah, again, I usually don't really do this with my hands. I usually just break it in half and throw it in the pot, and then use the spatula to break it up. But as you can see, yeah, it was still frozen in the middle, so I figured that, you know, pulling it apart like this in smaller pieces would make it defrost much quicker. But of course you don't have to do that. You can use fresh beef, or, you know, if you don't want to use your hands, that's fine too. I did wash my hands before cooking. Gotten replies about that too in the past, comments, people like, grossed out. Get over yourself, man. Like, come on, I'm making dinner for me and my partner. Like, I'm not in a restaurant. You know, of course I do value food safety and all that kind of stuff, but yeah, wash my hands, we're all good. So I'm just turned that down a little bit and just washing my hands now. And just let that beef simmer with the peppers and the onions. And yeah, I just am going to continue to keep on mixing it until all the chunks are completely defrosted. There is a lot of unnecessary video, you know, because I could have cut everything out and then just skipped it about to the end where it's all done. But I figured that it might actually be relaxing to have the sounds of the kitchen and, you know, the meat on the stove and stuff like that. So here I'm just opening a can of tomato paste, tomato puree, and I'm going to be using 2 tablespoons of that, which I'm going to be adding now. Just mixing that through. Well, trying to make the frozen pieces of beef smaller with my spatula. It's actually funny that my apron is matching the pot that I'm using today. I like red pots for some reason, not entirely sure why, but I just do. Okay, so now I need some garlic powder, because I need 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, and that was going way too slow, so I decided to take off the top. And there's quite a bit of tomato paste still in the spoon, so I just gotta I'm using the other little spoon to get everything out, to put it in the pot together with the rest. just mixing all of that through now as well. So the recipe says that you can add some cayenne pepper. As I have said many times before in previous eating videos, I cannot handle spice whatsoever. So I did not do that, but you can if you like spice. I'm adding a little bit of salt. This is all the salt I will be adding for the entire recipe, and some freshly cracked black pepper. And mixing everything together again. And I just turned up the heat a little bit. Okay, it's time to clean up just a little bit. Yeah, I just wanted to show you there, like, yeah, that's garlic powder that I put in. Okay, let me mix it again. Just reading the recipe, and I realized that I gotta put the diced tomatoes in here now. So I'm using about 400 milliliters, 14 ounces. So that's the size that I'm using for this recipe. The recipe, I think, requires 15 ounces, but 14 ounces is the closest I could get. The next can was going to be twice as big. Just using a spoon so that I can get everything out. Mixing everything together again. This is smelling phenomenal, by the way. And now I'm going to add some of the stock. Initially I thought it looked like quite a bit of stock. So yeah, I also wanted to taste it to see if it wasn't like too bland or too salty. And it was good. So yeah, I'm just going to add a little bit of the stock first. I'm starting with half a cup. And another half a cup, so 1 cup in total. And the recipe requires for you to use 1.5 cups, so I figured it's best to start off with a cup and see. Although, if you let it simmer long enough, it does really boil down, so a lot of the liquid evaporates. But, you know, I've had recipes in the past where it was like, okay, add this much, and then it ended up being way too watery for whatever reason, even though I followed the instructions correctly, so I just wanted to do it like this. Okay. Just having a look at the recipe again. Here I am just gonna open the can of kidney beans, which was a pain in the ass because sometimes the can opener just doesn't want to open the can, so yeah, I just had to skip through that part. Now I just gotta drain the kidney beans with a sieve. Meanwhile, the chili is simmering slowly. Really trying to get out all that liquid from the kidney beans. And then I've rinsed them as well. So I'm gonna add almost all of it. And I realized that it might be a little too much, but I just wanted to mix it first and see. Again, it's always better, in my opinion, to add like not enough than too much. And then I realized, like, okay, that's good enough. So I added the rest of the kidney beans to the chili. While I'm putting the sieve in the sink, and then I put the sugar back in its spot. And then I have one last look at the recipe. I am going to use these strained tomatoes, or crushed tomatoes, to it. I'm trying to show you up close, but it really didn't want to focus. So yeah, I'm going to use these strained tomatoes. And I don't think I'll be using the entire jar. Yeah, that's quite a bit. So I decided not to use the entire jar. I'm going to just keep the rest. It's 680 milliliters. So I used, I would say, about 3/3 of that. Or 3/4, sorry, 75% of the bottle. The rest I will be using for cabbage rolls that I also made, I think, the next day. So I used the tomato sauce with cabbage rolls that I made, that I did not film. So yeah, I'm just gonna mix all of this together, and I realized that I could add more of the stock to it. And the secret to a good chili, in my opinion, is the longer you let it simmer, the better it tastes. We actually ended up eating this chili in this evening, and it was really good. But the next day, when we had it for lunch, Chris brought some to work, I believe, for leftovers, and I had some for lunch as well. It tasted significantly better the next day. I'm just grabbing some of the cling wrap, plastic saran wrap, just to wrap around the tomato puree, tomato paste, so that I can use that some other time, which was, in this case, also the day after, when I made the cabbage rolls. So that's ready to put in the fridge now. And we are almost at the end. The chili is almost done. Okay, so let me put the cling wrap back in the drawer. And I'm just having one last look at the recipe, but this is it. It's done. It just needs to simmer, and I'm going to let it simmer for the next few hours till dinner time. So meanwhile, let me show you what I'm going to be serving with the chili shortly. I always like to eat chili with rice personally, but I also know that there's plenty of people that just eat chili as is. I do that too sometimes. It depends on my mood. I like to serve it with green onion. I just chop it up and put it in a bowl, and then you can just sprinkle it on top when you have the chili in a bowl. So I will be serving it with green onion, and I will also be serving it with sour cream. Sour cream is also the secret when your chili turns out to be too spicy. So yeah, sour cream, and then I also use cheese to sprinkle on top of the chili once you've served it on your bowl in your bowl. So yeah, like I said, I am just going to let this simmer now for the next few hours. Every 20 to 30 minutes, I will check up on it and stir it occasionally. There's an up-close look of the chili. I did not take a picture of it when I served it in my bowl, but it was very good. And I would like to thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here, and I will see you again next week. Bye, sweetie.